I'm Jerusha Sukthio-Rath and you're watching News 24 Live. Now, if you've ever asked the question, what is going on in the minds of South African men? Well, Pete Geerstein has got the answer for us. Pete, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
I feel like I've got some magical insight now.
Yes, well, I mean, I think so. I think continuing from where we chatted last time about the banking research, we have subsequently done some more research on what makes this South African man tick.
What makes him tick?
Yes.
Let's get straight into it. So
Please,
let's have a look at optimism levels
Right.
to start off with, because we know that the country is going through a very interesting time at the moment. We have members of parliament at each other's throat. We know that very famous economist Davy Rood recently wrote an open letter about how, despite the fact that things look bad in the country, he's very optimistic about the country. What are you experiencing in terms of optimism levels?
Right, so we specifically asked our three age groups, which were 18 to 24, 25 to 34, and then 35 to 49. So initially we did the research and then decided to have a look at what drives the different optimism levels. Then we asked the question specifically about, do you think your family and yourself are better off than a year ago? Or in which position are you? And the same, do you think the country is? Interestingly enough, the youngest age group said both the families and themselves as well as the country they think is better off than a year ago.
So that's 18 to 24-year-olds.
That's 18 to 24.
Those, I suppose, would be in the middle of that. Those are born frees. So born frees
Yes.
this year are turning or have turned 21 years old.
That's correct.
So that's very interesting to note.
Yeah, I think, I guess also I don't want to say there's a certain naivety because people are certainly connected with smartphones and internet and the information is out there. So I think rather what's happening is people are relating themselves to their global peers and having a look at the situation in America, in China, in Russia, where we want to, in the developed countries, but also then specific developing countries like the BRICS countries. And finding out that actually South Africa, even though it sometimes feels like we are in a dire situation, people now have the capability to better their own situations.
Very interesting. So that's younger South African men.
Yes.
Let's go on to that second age group, which is 25 to 34. Are we becoming more jaded as we get older?
I think so, unfortunately, yes, but still not towards your family and yourself. So we're still finding right through, and we'll touch on the older age group now as well, but we're finding in this age group as well that people say they think that their family is in a better position than a year ago, but now they are saying the country is very much in the same position as a year ago. So I think that might be just down to life experience. In other words, these people were around when the country was maybe in, I don't know, 20 years ago or whatever. I'm not saying it's better at all. I'm just saying I think in terms of life experience, they probably have a larger context to pull out of.
Okay, let's go on to that older age group then, 35 to 49-year-old. How are they feeling?
They, by contrast, are also feeling positive about themselves and saying that they're better off than a year ago, but not so much the country, saying the country is not better off than a year ago. I think possibly this might be, I don't want to call it the stuck group, that might be the wrong word, but they're feeling the job pressure and economic pressure, I think, a little bit more, and they're already much more established in their life cycle, in the limited life cycle that we have chosen to interview. And it might just be a feeling of, I wouldn't say helplessness, but struggling to see where the outside situation will change, the country situation will change.
Now, Peter, of course, we're talking about South African men here,
Yes.
but South African men, it's a very wide pool.
Yes.
Who are we looking at specifically in this study?
Right, so as a base, we used Sokoladuma members, which is around, we're now sitting with a group just over 47,500 people. And these interviews were done via mobile and online, completely voluntary, and then we just had a look at the results in terms of that. It's also the combination of a few research studies that we've done in order to create an overall picture based on the representativeness of this audience. And we spread right through the age groups and the demographic regional breakdown of South Africa as well.
So that's a huge group.
That's huge, yes. Although our survey sample size effectively probably comprised of, I would say, 4,000 or 5,000 people in total. Surveys added together.